What's up, guys? Good morning and welcome to today's video. I'm Zoe Wolf from zoewolf.com, and today I want to talk to you guys about how to calculate what your spouse's paychecks should be while they're gone at BMT. Okay, so this is super important because if they aren't getting paid properly, the sooner you notice, the better. But I do want to preface this by saying that sometimes BMT pay can be kind of weird. We personally didn't have any issues with it, but I know people who didn't get BAH the entire time they were in BMT. I know people who didn't get the separation pay, and so it can get kind of messed up. And but if you notice that it's not quite right, that's good, because in case finance doesn't notice, that way you can notify them and say, hey, look, pay's a little off. Let's make sure that gets fixed later on. So that's why it's important to pay attention. Now, obviously, if you and your spouse don't have a joint bank account, it might be a little bit harder for you to pay attention. We set one up before he left because that way we can make sure, which we were planning on setting one up anyway, but it was easiest to make sure we had that all good to go so that if I needed help paying any of our bills while he was gone, like if my job wasn't covering it all, that way we had that money to kind of help us out. Most of it went into savings, but it was also good to have that and to make sure it was coming in properly. So I'm going to teach you guys how to stay on top of that when you don't have access to pay stubs. So let's kind of dive into that. First thing you should know is separation pay comes after 30 days apart. So you won't get that in the first 2 paychecks, and you'll start to get it after that. Another thing is that you don't usually see any BMT pay until about a month after they leave for BMT, so it's important to make sure that you have like a buffer of like about a month before you're going to get paid. You have money set aside to cover those bills because you will not get paid in the first month. Jeremy left on December 15th, did not get paid until January 15th. So again, very important to have that buffer of money for that first month. If you don't have a job, make sure you have money set aside so you can still pay bills in those first 30 days. So I believe it's the first 2 checks you won't see separation pay. But here's kind of how I go about calculating what his paycheck should be. So first of all, know what their base pay is. I don't know exactly how it works if they go in at a higher rank, but I think they are all still considered E1s until they graduate BMT. Correct me if I'm wrong though. I don't know, because Jeremy was still an E1 when he graduated BMT, so he was definitely E1 pay that whole time. But regardless, if that's not how it works, just know what the base pay is for what your spouse's rank is. So Jeremy was an E1, so base pay for an E1 is $1,599.84 per month. Okay, so what you do is you take that number and multiply it by 12, get your yearly income. So that is, where did I write it down? I wrote it down somewhere. So an E1's yearly salary is $19,198.08. So you take that number, and the tool I like to use is paycheckcity.com. I will link it down in the description box below. Go there and you fill out the information, what state you live in, and what the annual salary is, and how often they get paid. So it's bi-weekly. Yeah, bi-weekly is what they call it, which is, every other week, right? That's essentially how they get paid. They get paid the 1st and the 15th of every month. So you take that money, or you take that yearly salary, you pop that in there. Do not include your BAH, do not include BAS, do not include separation pay at that point. Just include the base pay, because that other income, the BAH, the separation pay, BAS, that is not taxable income. That is separate. So you only put in base pay. That's what's going to be subjected to federal and state income taxes. So that comes out to $642.88 of base pay after taxes. Multiply that by 2 so you get the monthly payment, or just put in monthly when you're calculating it. I didn't do that, but whatever. It comes out to $1,285.76 per month. Then add in your BAH and your separation pay. I can't remember if they get BAS at this time. I don't think they do because they're eating at the DFAC, so don't include BAS. But separation pay is $250, and BAH is going to be calculated based on their zip code of enlistment. While they're in BMT, it is the zip code of enlistment, which should be your zip code, unless they had to enlist somewhere further away from where you guys live, but it should be relatively close to where you live and therefore should be about the same. So Jeremy's zip code of enlistment was the Bay Area, Northern California, the San Francisco area, which is a really expensive area. So BAH for him was $3,381 a month, which is insane. I think it's like the highest BAH of anywhere. It was incredibly helpful and completely covered our rent, which was just wonderful. But yeah, so you take your $1,285.76, add your $33.81 to it, and then add separation pay, which is $250. That comes out to $4,916.76. Now divide that by 2, that's $2,485.38. And that would be the total of each paycheck. So it may be a little bit off, but Paycheck City should give you should be perfect on what the taxes are, so it should come out almost exactly what it is. If it's close to that, then you're good. If it's way off, then the paycheck is off, and that's something to take note of and let your spouse know so he can talk to finance and figure out what's going on with that. It's important to stay on top of, because if finance doesn't notice and you don't notice, you could be losing out on a lot of money, and that is really unfortunate. So definitely make sure you're watching that, you know how to calculate it, you can stay on top of it, and you make sure that your husband or wife, that your spouse is getting paid properly so that you guys don't miss out on any money in that time period. A lot of people will get back pay for BAH and for separation pay because of clerical errors. We thankfully didn't have that problem, but I know it definitely can be weird. I know Jeremy's first BMT paycheck came out to $300, and then his second paycheck was $5,000, and then by the next one it evened out. It was $2,400. It was almost exactly what it should have been, and that was, from there on, we were good. It's good to just stay on top of everything and know, what it should be and look at what it is, because like I said, Jeremy's second paycheck came out to $5,000, and had that been an error rather than back pay, that could have been just terrible. The Air Force will, if they pay you too much, sometimes they'll take it back with no warning. Sometimes they'll warn you, but a lot of the times they won't. They'll just take it out with no warning. And so it's really important to set that money aside and do not spend money that you're not supposed to have. So if that happens, or even if you think like I thought, oh, that's probably just back pay because we didn't get BH in the first paycheck, I still set that money aside. I put it into our savings account, and I said, I'm not going to spend this. I'm going to wait for the next paycheck to come, see what happens with that one, and just be really, really careful. Now, thankfully, I had that luxury because not only were his paychecks really big because BAH was fantastic for where we lived at the time, but I also had a full-time job where I was making a very decent amount of money. Prior to him joining, we were living just fine off of just my income, and so it wasn't a huge deal for us. Most of that money was going into savings anyway, and so it was kind of nice, to have that buffer. If you don't have that buffer though, just be really careful. Know what the paychecks should be and don't spend more than that. Put that extra aside just in case something goes wrong and the Air Force needs to take that money back, because you don't want to get stuck, having them take money back and then you're just screwed, So be really aware of that, be careful, and create a budget around what the paychecks should be, so that way, if you get extra pay or something happens, to set that aside and not touch it just in case something happens. And if they don't take it back, then you're good, you've got that money, but you didn't need it because you didn't budget for it. You know what I mean? So be very careful, be aware, know what's going on, constantly be checking to make sure that the pay is good to go. I am going to do a future video on budgeting, because we did not budget at first and it kind of screwed us over, and now that we're on an awesome budget, it's been super helpful to us. And so I will share that with you guys at some point. And I hope this video was helpful. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe to my channel if you don't already, and I will see you guys soon with another video.